And we are live. Hi, everybody. This is the Event Success Insights podcast with me, Chryssa Skodra. Here in this podcast series, we are discussing the latest trends with influential thought leaders, professionals, and academics in the event industry from Finland and from around the world. This podcast is powered by Lyyti, the leading event success platform that enables you to create meaningful encounters and also measure them with the unique experience value score, the EVS, which is a North Star metric measuring event success. Find out more at lyyti.com and eventsuccessmanagement.com. This is a live show being brought to you and streamed live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And we are welcoming your questions and comments. So keep them coming from all the platforms you're tuning in and listening at any given point. Today, with me in the studio, I have the pleasure to welcome Dada! Mrs. Evon Blomstedt, the CEO of HUONE International Group International. And Evon today will be talking about goodbye boring meetings and hello powerful and inspiring venues. Hi, Evon.
Hi, thank you, Chryssa, for having me here. I'm very happy to join on this very meaningful podcast for our industry thought leaders.
Exactly. And you represent one of the best and most influential people in the industry. And it's a great pleasure and honor to have you here. I've known you for quite many years already. We've done some interviews together, right? Back in Hagahelia, University of Life Science, if you recall.
Yeah.
And that's how we spent a few hours together, 4 or 5 hours more. Yeah, I've seen your career in Finland, and you'll tell us all about it in this in this today's interview. So let's start with you. How a Malaysian girl came half a planet away to Finland and has taken the event industry by storm, not only in Finland but expanding internationally as well.
Well, I always tell people that I ran away from home. That's an easy easy starting point. So I ran away from home when I was 19. But I kind of joke aside, I actually come from a village in Malaysia, and as a proper kind of a lower class society that I live in, where my mother, who happens to be a singer, um, actually more of a showgirl, which better describe what she does. So she got pregnant with me when she was 22, and then 2 years later my sister, and after that she had to feed the family. And since my father flee, so she had to bring the bread home. So she continued to sing, and so she come and visit once a year. So we are actually brought up by my grandmother. So kind of coming from this, living in a huge house, in a huge house. When I say house, I mean like palm tree leaves on top to catch the water, and then we have bucket under to catch when the rain is raining, and we get water. We don't have tap water. We have well where I get well water to wash ourselves, to hand wash everybody's clothes. I live in under one roof with seven of my cousins. So that is kind of a setting where I grew up with, and didn't have a lot. And a lot of people say that, oh, you're such a creative person, like, oh, you come up with all these ideas and stuff like that. And I really kind of want to actually contribute that, kind of delegate that to my childhood, because when you don't have a lot, then you ought to be creative.
Exactly.
You have to come up with solution, and then if you don't have ready-made Legos or ready-made Barbie dolls, then what do? Then you come up with different games and so on. So I do think that part of my life really made me who I am today. So long story short, without spending 2 hours talking about my background growing up, when I left Malaysia and came to Finland, I also didn't kind of just became, hallelujah, I have this one moment that I want to.
Everyone came to Finland and
build this one,
success.
and it wasn't like that at all.
Right.
I've been here for 18 years. And
me too. We came on the same year, I think.
Yeah.
And with, are you born 84 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
No, we have so much in common.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I mean, we're both in a very small industry, and both kind of like trying to fight against because immigrant coming to Finland isn't the easiest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's say that for the record. We love Finland, but we had to prove.
Love Finland.
Well, I think definitely you, and I also think for myself, we have been great brand ambassadors for Finland and
Yeah.
representing this country abroad, wherever we're going. However, I think, and tell me if you agree with me, I believe you had to prove you're 10 times better to be considered half good.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, the struggle is real, or has it been in your case?
I mean, just imagine this, that when I graduated from Hagahalea when I was 28, so I went to study when I was 24, did a bunch of odd jobs and things like that, because when I first came to Finland, actually, I didn't speak English.
Ah.
Yeah, so I mean, when I say I don't speak English, I mean I speak like where is toilet, or like very, very bad basic English. So the first language I had to learn when I come here was English.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, then I was just picking up odd jobs. The only thing, my mother tongue is Chinese Mandarin. So I was waitressing in a Chinese restaurant. I was cleaning people's houses just to get by. And later on, kind of like, I pick up this one job actually at the Embassy of Malaysia to be
the secretary. I remember
where
that.
I kind of understood the organizing meetings and things like that, the pain points and so on from that part of my career as well. And when I actually finished with the embassy, I realized that like this whole street of master degree holders, and I only have a high school certificate, and I'm never educated. So I'm in the land of the best education. Why don't I also get an education? So at that time, then I went to study in Hagahalea, and then I graduated with a degree in hospitality management. And HUONE was actually my thesis.
Yeah.
So as a result of my study, not only during the study, I realized that I'm not stupid because I finally
far
understand.
from it.
Yeah, I finally understand what everyone else was talking about, because for a long time I thought I was stupid. I'm just this pretty face who just came to Finland, and I'm good for nothing because everything I write full of grammatical mistakes, and people conversation I don't understand them. In Finnish, in English, whatever language it is, I didn't tune in with them. I was doubting myself for a long time that maybe I'm just this wife that's supposed to be cooking at home, like my grandmother says. That, I look good, and then I represent myself. I cook good food, and that should be it. But after the education, which I thankfully still thanks to Finnish education, that it unlocks something in my brain that I understand that, hey, I'm not stupid. Actually, I have ideas too, and
potential.
Good ideas as well. And then again, HUONE is a result of that education. If I didn't have the Finnish education that was given to me for free, by the way, I would not have even started HUONE.
So while you're studying hospitality at Hagahalea University of Life Sciences, it's time to write your thesis. How do you come up with the idea of HUONE? And back then it was called HUONE Events Hotel. That was the concept. Now you don't go nowadays by that name as such. You just keep the HUONE. For everybody tuning in and listening at the moment, HUONE is a Finnish word that stands for room. It means room. So tell us a little bit about the idea, and then fast forward to today, what HUONE is today. So what it was in the past, how the idea was born, and where is HUONE today as a business meeting and event venue?
Well, like I was trying to also mention before, that I didn't just wake up one morning and hey, let's do something called HUONE. It wasn't like that. It started from something totally else. It was the very, very basic of taking an idea and spinning it. Well, and that idea to me was this thing called karaoke box. Back in Asia, it took Asia by storm. It's an idea from Japan, where it kind of like combat this nightlife, a bit kind of like drinking and drunk singing KTV concept, and kind of like rebranding that all together to a family clean like venues where there's like room after room, soundproof room, where you have karaoke machine inside, you can sing, and then you pick up the phone from the wall and you can order food and drinks and service everything, and then while you have a party, family party with family, where the kids can be singing, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on the karaoke, and then the adults singing the I Go at Night and all they want, and you don't have to sing in front of other people. So it's kind of like very like singing as entertainment and part of the program for any kind of family parties.
Right.
So I thought
That was the original idea.
yeah. And so I thought that, hey, let's bring that to Finland, because I really think that people would enjoy something like this, because it isn't here.
And Finland is the Japan of Europe,
Yeah.
Lots
I was thinking that, the opportunity out there.
Yeah.
But when I actually spin it in my head, and then also went out to party during the study time with my friends, and I realized that, oh no, like the only way you get the Finns to sing is when they are drunk. And then drunk customer aren't very good customer, are they? So I was like, okay,
no, let's ditch the idea.
Let's ditch the idea. But then I was still thinking that, hey, there's something there. There's something, a space solution. And then later on, when I was studying, when I was working in the embassy, I did realize that actually it's hard to find a place that is flexible enough to actually have events just for 30 people or 50 people, because the embassy of Malaysia, the amount of Malaysian in Finland is very little. You can count with your hands almost at that time. So we will not be needing the big ballroom or things like that, and then people will just disappear in that big room. And then we realize that your options are very little and limited. So that's where I kind of put one and one together, and then kept working on it. And then so when I graduated, it became HUONE. And at that time, the original idea was to actually still do the parties in the evening and weekends. But then during the daytime, then we will do corporate meetings. So that is kind of like where the idea evolved. But at the end, when we open, which let's not go to how the startup journey is and how we raise money and actually all those mess. Let's skip that. So when
fast forward,
fast forward, many hardships and so on, and then
many tears and almost bankruptcy even, right?
I said fighting bankruptcy 2 times, but let's keep that.
Let's keep that and come to the good stuff.
Save for another time. So when we actually open. And then we realize that the businesses who book us, they come in and they're like, oh my God, finally somebody do something with this meeting room. It's like, finally not just one table in the middle and an office chair around it. And they just
boring.
Yeah, they just keep coming back and coming back. And then we realized that yes, we did actually catch the private customers' attention. They wanted to do their birthday parties and all this there, but it's so messy, consumer business, so messy. And they come in and then they're super drunk, and then they try to sneak in their own drinks and all kind of story that I'll tell another time. And then so we realized that the private business is very messy, very hard to control, and then also you cannot retain them, because they like to do bar hop, like if I have my birthday this year here, I don't want to have my birthday next year here as well.
Right.
So we realized it's very hard to retain the private business. So then we decided that, okay, then let's go B2B. So we switched the entire idea.
More money, also in the B2B.
More money, and also actually we unlock so many different values that the business meetings customers were asking or were wanting for.
Right.
And
what was missing? So Evon, this is a nice point now for somebody who doesn't know what HUONE is all about. So what makes HUONE unique? What's the value you're bringing, the unique value? What was missing and what was exactly, you sort of touched upon it, but where HUONE is today also, you said that it was not just a table and some chairs around it, because I know that you have very inspiring venues. So let's come to that aspect. What makes HUONE so inspiring? What are the factors?
Well, the most important thing is that, of course, everyone, and it's in their face when they come to HUONE, is that we are very creatively designed meeting venue. So that is,
and that's beautiful. I can attest to that.
So they that's the first thing that catch the eye. But if you think about in terms of the concept, who are our biggest competitors before HUONE?
Right.
Where do people go for meetings? Hotels,
right?
Hotels, meeting rooms, and hotels. Their main purpose of existing is to make it a second home for the overnight stay. So the first KPI is how to make it the second home. So when people come in, help them with their luggage and explain their breakfast, where to get to the swimming pool and all these things, and checking them in and then maybe helping them with their luggage and all that. And then their second KPI is to sell the food and beverage in the restaurant.
Right.
And then their third KPI is that, oh, are you coming to a meeting? Yeah, just downstairs basement, just turn left. That's it. That's our competitor. So now think I'm from hotel school. So when I come to this, thinking of this concept, of course, space, anyone, and people keep asking me that how do you stay competitive? Anyone can build inspiring room. Anyone can hire the top interior designer to make this. You can put gold in the wall for all I care. But I think that they're missing the point is that we designed this place for meetings. Everything is designed for meetings. That means that from the service process, how do I make the minute you come in all the way until when you leave the door, that whole process,
the whole customer path, and
we design the service journey from they enter until they leave with that in mind, and that is the only thing we do. So this is a very important differentiator. So when you come there, we know exactly what is the pain point that you will feel.
Exactly. And I think when I visited HUONE, the vibe I've gotten is that you're very human-centric and you're very much driven by hospitality. So I think you state that also online, that you merge the Finnish effectiveness with the Asian hospitality. And I think it comes to both of your home countries, if you like, and who you are as a person. So this hospitality and this cozy vibe where your needs are met, and it's a very human-centric, customer-centric approach. Not just, okay, we have this meeting downstairs, just follow the lobby and turn down. So I think this is how I felt the value is very human-centric, very hospitable, close connection with the guest. So when it comes to the guest experience, and since today's topic is about inspiring venues, what are the factors, what is the impact of an inspiring venue on the guest experience? What impact does it have on the attendees' experience, psychologically, behaviorally? Are you familiar with any research, or do you have your own research conducted there from your guests? How do you measure their experience when they come in HUONE?
And I think that is a topic that everyone should be looking at the moment. To be honest, there isn't too many research, especially now recently done also on the topic about hybrid meetings as well as virtual meetings, to compare the outcome of those with physical meetings and so on, because I think the trend, the massive thing, the wave is come now. So I do think that this is an excellent topic for any student who is now studying the topic. For example, Monica probably has students who is ready to do something like this. So just a hint. And anyway, coming back to your question is that if you put a person in a blue room, just the color of room changes. A blue room, green room, and a white room, they are stimulating you a different way. Now think you put a person, a group 10 in a very large ballroom versus a suitable size,
more intimate
room, they would also feel completely different. So you don't need a scientific research to say that, of course it's a common sense that of course it dictates how you behave in a large space or a different kind of space. So environment dictates how you feel for sure. So now coming back to what HUONE, for example, why we do and what we believe in our guest experience is that's why we organize and design our room according to the purpose of the meetings. So we always have rooms that is for brainstorming, and then we have rooms that is good for workshop, and rooms that is good for a mini seminar and things like that. And we don't do any large conferences. That's where we draw the line. So what our venues, every one of our venues have a series of rooms that is for these different purposes. So when the customer actually call and say, oh, do you have a room for 10 next week, Wednesday? And then we say, forget about the room for a bit.
What is your purpose?
What needs to do? What are you here to do? And then we can help you to kind of actually match the room for you and at the same time actually help you to work through how the day should go, so that what kind of furniture arrangement you should have, and then do you need, like a writable walls, or do you need post-it, or suggest you some activation activity and so on. So we do all that every day. And this year is actually HUONE's 10 years.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So we have organized more than 20,000 business meeting and events so far. So we have a lot of intel in terms of board meeting, how it will go, workshop, how it will go, and so on. So this template is something that we already have, that is beyond the walls and the design that you see when you walk in. And I think that is the soft values that no one see. And coming to how to measure the success of the guest experience, that's where I want to be very honest and say that, because we are not the organizer, meaning that there's a line where the venue can help and facilitate, versus where the event organizer, the meeting host, they themselves put on the agenda. So it's very difficult for us to actually measure the success of that event when we cannot actually meddle. We have to respect the of our customers, so we can facilitate through setup to event consultation, so that we incorporate good breaks in between, and to kind of embrace the power of breaks and so on, and make sure that there's space for things like that. We can suggest different program. Is it a yoga session, or is it a outdoor activation, or anything like that? Those things we can help and suggest and facilitate. But when it comes to the agenda itself, it's up to the organizer, which is why we also produce a lot of content in our website, actually, to have checklists or tips for organizer to not forget this thing when they plan the agenda, and then to especially bear in mind, why are you here? What are you here to do? Immediately write down what you should achieve today before you walk out of HUONE. So these are the things that we can do to influence, but we cannot dictate who are the speaker there, what is the agenda, what are they going to speak about, or what kind of have they invited the right people, or all these things. So those things are something that we cannot dictate. So when we measure, the only things that matter in our measurement is the NPS score, the Net Promoter Score, which means that people who has come here to HUONE, would you recommend this to a colleague or a friend after you leave?
Right.
And we have consistently get in possible NPS score that I'm so proud of my team of delivering. So I just think that is the only thing that matters when we have our limitation to the event success of our customers.
Right. And you mentioned about the website. So now it's a great opportunity here to let everybody know. So if you're watching this live podcast on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, I'm here with Evon Blomstedt, the CEO of HUONE International. Check out huone.events for more information about what HUONE is. Check all the services and articles and resources. And I'd like to say if you're not familiar yet, that HUONE has started from Finland, but it's global already. There are locations in Copenhagen, there is Singapore, right? So HUONE has grown very much over the past decade. You're celebrating now, you said your 10th anniversary. So you have 3 babies, and now you're not just the CEO of HUONE Events Hotel as you used to be back in the days, but the CEO of HUONE International. So what I would like Evon to discuss, because we spoke before about the event success, and obviously you have to draw the line somewhere. You're not the event organizer as such, but what happens with events organized by you, for your people, for event, for HUONE's employees and so on, or for your community, or do you have press events, or do you have your own internal, external events where you're promoting your services and business? So how about those meetings and those encounters and those events?
So we do have our internal events and then external as well for our customers and so on. In fact, we actually just had 2 weeks ago one assistant event to honor the Secretary Day, nowadays called a Office Professional Administrative Day. Unfortunately, the date was taken by the Congress in Messu, the fair. So we did it 2 weeks later.
Right.
And that event was organized by us every year. So we wanted to pamper the unsung hero in the office, which is the assistant and the executive secretaries and so on, who are actually doing all the
Right.
on top of everything else
Yeah.
they are doing, and then they are normally the one that don't even get to
Mm.
participate in the event. They have
Mm,
never even seen the venue. They are just booking the place and all this. So
doing all the hard work and
yeah. So that is the thing that once a year we invite them over, and then okay, aside. So once a year we invite them over, and then we kind of like have a good talk or good topic where we are actually is relevant to them and so on. This year the topic is give yourself a break.
Mhm.
So we had how we did it is that it was in HUONE, and then we also have the terrace there. So we invited actually the executive assistant of Ilkka Paananen from Supercell. So to kind of like, hey, how is it like working for one of the highest profile person in Finland as his executive assistant? Like, so kind of like have that as a topic for the rest of the assistant and secretaries. And so I have a panel discussion and I interview her. And afterwards, then we have a wellness thing, which is give yourself a break. So we have Kuku workout come over and do a kind of like, how do you make sure that you embrace your wellness doing a hybrid work at home and in the office? So we had some tips and different exercise that we actually activated the whole crowd about it. And afterwards, then we enjoyed this wellness ginger lemon tea hot one in the terrace. 2 weeks ago it was still quite chilly, so it fit the occasion really well. And then we were there doing some networking, and then we specifically gave a task that since you drag yourself all the way out of your home and your office, let's make at least 2 new friends before you leave. So then we make sure that all the objective what we set out to do, meaning to let the assistant have a break. So a very, very good breakfast, and then it doesn't take too long time. It's 2 hours, very intense, just in the morning, and then people can go back to work. So we have that, we pampered them, and then we have a very topical, relevant topic for them that is only inviting them to listen to a fellow executive assistant, and then to receive some career tips and things like that. And then to also have a break, the wellness element inside and networking, since we want to do face-to-face meeting, then they are here to actually embrace also all their senses, how they smell, what they eat, what they touch, and make a friends and new connection and so on before they leave. So it was very successful. So the NPS score of that was 4.9 out of 5 out of everyone that participated.
I think for this type of event, what you're just describing, the experience value score would be great as a metric. I don't know if you're familiar with the
I'm
experience.
actually not. And just now when you just mentioned it, that Lyyti actually have a tool like that, I'm actually very happy to talk to you about that
So
later.
basically the I can say just on air briefly for everybody listening, because that's very relevant, I think. So the question that the experience value score is answering to is my time worth it? Because the biggest, what we identified is that the biggest investment in events is not the cost of catering or the cost of the speakers, but it's the time invested from the participants. Because for those ladies or people who join your event to the executive assistants for taking 2 hours during their day, which they're, as you know, they're very busy individuals, to take 2 days to come to any event, it's a big time investment that also has dollar euro signs assigned to that as their per diems and hourly wages and so on. So the biggest, as we say, time is money, right? The old data thing is in every culture and language. So if time is money and the biggest cost of events is the time investment by the participants, and having exactly this human-centric, participant-centric approach, the EVS is answering to the question, is my time worth it or wasted? It's similar to MPS, but it's the MPS for events. So the EVS measures on a scale from 1 to 5, if you like. There's 5 emojis on top. Behind them, there's a mathematical formula in psychology, similar to the MPS. So behind that formula, and then there's open comments below where you can justify the answer you gave above. And then in Lyyti, there is a dashboard where you see your EVS score and how it also correlates to the industry benchmark and also in your own organization. So all the events in your event portfolio in your organization would have their own EVS score, and then you say, okay, where am I standing? If I go to out of 100, that's from 0 to 100 is the metric, the continuum. So if you got a 77 EVS, but another event got 87, like what lessons learned you can learn from that, so your event can be better. So it's about continuous learning and continuous improvement of events. This is in a nutshell what event success management is. It merges the traditional event management with agile methodology that comes from the software industry, as Lyyti is the software company. And the EVS, it's now into the Lyyti product, but as such, it could be a standalone EVS in the near future, meaning that anybody can use EVS, whether they're using Lyyti or not. So I think it's a great metric, and it's exactly this North Star metric that you can, when in a world that is constantly changing around you, the North Star guides you, and then you can compare how the competitors are doing. What's the industry benchmark? Why my events are scoring this and this? What we can do. But in this changing world, Evon, and you touched upon the changes in the event industry that have happened in the past couple of years. How have you been adapting to those at HUONE? Have you been transforming your business model? Have you been making changes or evolving your offering to accommodate the needs? How the two past years have been, and then how do you see the future evolving?
I think first of all, let's not kid ourselves. My first priority during the past 2 years was surviving. I think the thing we heard from the Congress semester where the secretaries went and all the events, venues, and so on, they were there. And one of the things that actually came out was that people are not ready to book yet face-to-face meeting because there's still uncertainty time still continues. But one thing that another thing why we came there is also to see who survived the pandemic. And then you guys survived, and I was like, okay.
both professionally and personally, to be honest, the past 2 years have been very tough, and I know, I mean, you've had your own challenges as well, and I salute you for that. You're just a survivor in any aspect, professionally and personally. So
no. I mean, I don't have any other choice. I think that is the thing. Most of the survival tell that what is my other option? So giving up is not an option. So I think the 2 years pandemic was very, very difficult. But yes, personally, my personal health, which also trying to raise awareness to breast cancer here. That last year I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 36. So I just want to say that do not think for a second that breast cancer cannot get you because you're young. It can, and there is quite a lot of I bump into quite many people my age at the breast cancer hospital as well here in Finland, and it's a very sad story. And do check your breast, ladies.
Absolutely.
And ask your wife, girlfriend, mom, anyone to check their breast, and don't take this lightly because it absolutely can kill. So I have very happy battle my 1 year hardship, and then now I'm back at work and I'm trying to rebuild HUONE. And
so HUONE survived. You survived, doing great, looking beautiful as always. So you were there. So HUONE survived the pandemic, and it's great to have you here, both HUONE and you, obviously. So all you do is win.
No, that is the number one point I wanted to say in the past 2 years. And also salute to a lot of my other industry, colleagues that, the whole industry took such a big hit. So, I mean, of course, the rest of us who remain cannot ignore the big question that you just asked, that how have you now adopted a new normal? I just want to say that upfront to know the condition we are in, because meaning that we are lack of resources, we are down, our manpower is down, that, a lot of labor has changed. Switch industry, they're given up completely on the service industry. It's impossible to find good people to work in.
I think event industry and education have suffered quite much. A lot of teachers and lots of tourism, hospitality in general, and education have been so hit.
So I just want to say that allowed so that you know the circumstance that we are in as an industry. So surviving is one, and so investing in R&D is very limited. I want to say that out loud. So of course we still try to adapt and pivot and try to see what is there that we can do, because let's not kid ourselves. I mean, we are in face-to-face meeting. And we have to believe in face-to-face meeting. And I personally, of course, I'm completely biased, but I am a person who need face-to-face interaction. I can't just work remotely.
Yeah.
It would drive myself crazy if I will not feel like belong to any community or any culture if I'm just at my kitchen desk. So I just don't. I'm a blind believer of face-to-face meeting.
Absolutely.
But now let's remember that the remote working has become not just 1 out of 10, which is like before the pandemic. During the pandemic, it's 10 out of 10. Everyone was working remotely. So now that must be addressed. And what is the new normal? When during that time, people have been able to meet, something has carried on, training has carried on, and all these conferences, webinar, all these things has carried on online. So how is it that now when we go back to the new normal, what is the new normal? And I think that is the question that everyone wants to know. And as a meeting venue who is a blind believer of face-to-face meeting, I have come to a conclusion, personal view, is still that they are still a very significant purpose of why people have to meet face-to-face for certain events. So now for anyone looking to design any event at all and to organize any event at all, now they have to actually add another element to their criteria that why they should do, how they should do this event, is that not just where meaning that is it physical or online, it's also how, that are you having it hybrid, are you introducing like virtual reality, are you, and all these different things. And before you ask all these questions, you should first say that what do I want my participant to get out of here. So the aim of the event need to be put up there first. If that is networking, collaboration, new ideas, bonding, alignment, I do not believe that meeting solely virtually will achieve any of that very efficiently.
Yep. I agree with you, and I have been very much mentally and physically fatigued looking at a screen. You know, my neck is hurting, my back is hurting, my vision is blurry after 8 hours. Yes, and actually yesterday I gave an interview to, it came out, my interview at Event magazine, and I'm not a futurist, but I think that, and I want to hear your opinion on that, is that I believe that now people will be very hungry for live encounters. But what I think might happen is, because we are so hungry after this 2 years of isolation and looking at a screen and we're little animals afraid. I think the first time I went to an event months ago, was like, is this real life? Can we shake hands? Can I hug you? I know you for many years, but you are three-dimensional now in front of me. But I think that people will be more selective nowadays into which events are organized. And perhaps the question could be, why organize event? Maybe an event is not the right way to go about it. Maybe we should write press release rather and send it out. Or then if we organize an event, exactly as you said, what type of event? And then when we're looking at the participants, I think the participants now, and we go back to the time is money. So if the time now is so valuable because they lost 2 years of their time, now they have to be, I think, very careful with where I'm investing my time and which events I'm attending, because am I attending this event, or is it 2 hours away from my husband, my child, my favorite hobby, or my actual work that will pile up? What is your stance on that?
I'm totally with you, 100%. I do think that people are constantly asking that question, though, is it worth my time?
Exactly.
Back then, only the C-level people asked that question themselves.
That's exactly.
Yeah, but now everybody is asking, is it worth my time to actually drag myself out of my Espoo home and commute and all the way to the city and to do this? So I absolutely think that is the case. But that's why I say that in a way, the event success score that you guys have, or what we are using as a net promoter score, because we are not ourselves
Right.
arranging the event, that whether or not they want to come back, whether or not they want to attend another time, if this were to being organized again. And what I personally, to be honest, because I, for example, Nordic Business Forum, which is very
prestigious
event in Finland for business leaders, and as you said, carving out 2 days, 2 full days for that calendar just to attend physically for that, it better be worth it. And also the dollar sign on it is also very expensive to buy a ticket to go there. So like for something like that, and people go back year after year. So without even the matrix that you guys have, that people are going back for a reason. And then the same thing with us being venue, that people coming back and back for a reason. And that reason being that, they would absolutely want the same experience again. So now coming back to your question, that is my time worth it? And I think for every single person who organize events, they must ask, what do you want the people to get out of here? And I think now, forget about headline, like summer party or whatever. It should be that in this party you're gonna get XYZ.
Absolutely.
and because that is
then I
the
have
thing,
to measure.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm gonna say. Okay, so if they guarantee that I'm gonna get, like two relevant contact, and like there's gonna be an inspiring speech that might make me think differently, and then I can collaborate up with other people who are also there on site. Yeah, why not? But again, if it's just something that requires no input from the participant, like is a training for a license or whatever things that anyone can train online or anything that doesn't require physical demonstration, why not doing online? If you don't require the person to actually do anything backwards. But then again, engagement of the participants, and how many of the webinar you attend that everyone is just closing,
exactly,
right? If not just webinar, just meetings, closing their camera, mute, you don't even know if they're actually there. They don't speak, they are doing probably 5 other things at the same time.
Exactly.
They can be sitting on the toilet for all you know. So for me, it's just a matter of what do you want your participant to get out of there. And I think so many wasted time is being done in ineffective, unnecessary meetings that we have to stop them. And especially the boring ones that will just waste everyone's time. Come on, like we have to stop them.
And this is exactly what event success management is, and what I say when I talk publicly about the topic is that during the pandemic times, the impact that the COVID-19 had is this lack of gut feeling. You don't have a gut feeling when everybody's muted and there's no camera, so you cannot look into their eyes, right? The eyes can tell you a lot of things. You can scan the room and see, is my audience getting what I'm saying? Do they follow?
Even this very session that we're having here, if I'm not here right now with you in the same room, I would not have been able to have this dynamic with you.
Right.
And it will be so bad for people listening in, because then it's like, I'm waiting for you, you're waiting for me, I can't see your body language and so on. Whereas the two of us, because it can also be done so that I'm in my home and you're in your office. Yeah, it can also be done like that. But then the quality of it is completely different.
Exactly. So we could have, this is a live broadcast, everybody. Evon Blomstedt with me here from HUONE. She's the CEO of HUONE International, and we're talking about goodbye boring meetings and hello, the power of inspiring venues. So exactly, we can read here face to face as we're sitting in this podcast studio. We're broadcasting live from Epicenter, Helsinki, from the heart of the Finnish capital, and I can read your facial expression, all the micro expressions. I see your pauses. I'm multitasking as well here, checking here what's happening and putting the right captions on and so on. But I think that would be exactly in the mediated experience through, if we were to do that remotely, it would be a different animal. Definitely wouldn't have the same dynamic and vibe. So that's why it's great to have influential people to come here downtown and talk to me. Of course, if they're internationals, of course we can do it remotely as well. So I know that you're very passionate about the future of work, and perhaps you're reading about it, you're giving it a lot of thought. So how does this matter to you? What trends do you see emerging, or what ideas you have already in your mind regarding the future of work, and then how HUONE can play a role in this?
I think the past 2 years has forced a lot of companies, leaders, team leaders, all this to think differently. How do you lead a team without seeing them every day? And I think that trend is settling down with the option of also now coming back to face. And I think one of the most significant thing that I obviously completely biased, again, disclaimer, that is that the future workspace. Because to me,
Right.
the future workspace, if you don't need that individual desk to just so that, hey guys, I'm here working, and then with a laptop there that, I'm working here, I'm showing up to work. Like if that element no longer serve a purpose, then why does people come to the office at all? Then they come to see their other colleagues. They have the sense of belonging.
Right.
They are here to do collaborative work, maybe some teamwork, or maybe the social events to bond with the people, or then have something that is meeting other people, networking, and so on. So if these are the purpose of the future workspace, what are we going to do with all the cubicles?
Right. And that costs a lot of money.
Yeah. So a lot of business owners are obviously not stupid. They're doing the calculation already in their head. And then they're watching when their lease is ending. So I mean that is just simply it. And so
do we need all the square meters of empty space and equipment?
So I do think that, I mean, you are right now in co-working space, and it's exactly for that reason that you can flexibly come, flexibly go, and then there are the things that you need and so on. So I do think that co-working will continue to be a major trend, if not the only core. And so I do see that, yes, people still need their office, so that people feel a sense of belonging, that I belong to this brand, that we have a headquarters, we are there, and so on. And I think that symbolically something still needs to be there. But do you need all the square meter? You probably don't. So I do think that then people, like, the previous question that you asked, that is it worth my time? So if I come to the city, or if I drag myself, all the way from my garden and to come here, so then you have to come here to actually, be in an inspiring place, things that, activate your other senses, meeting people, what you smell, what you eat, what you enjoy, what you experience, to be actually a memorable, is it a meeting, is it an event that you're attending? Because the more you engage a person, the more they remember that moment. It's like, actually, before this starts, you asked me that, do you remember that time when you were singing in that one event? Before your speech.
I was exactly. That's good that you mentioned. I thought I'll share it. So in one event, I don't remember the venue, so I don't know, was it HUONE, or was it or was it Hagahelia, or where? It could be anything else. And Evon was, she does a lot of public speaking, so she was there as a keynote speaker. And she was sitting in the front row with her back turned. I was 2 rows behind her. And I have actually proof of that. I have a video. I made a video, of your introduction. So I think we were just in the beginning of getting to know each other, because, as I said, we've done those interviews together. So I thought I'll take a video of Evon and maybe share it with her if she wants to have it for reference, because I'm in the audience and we're friends now. So I have a video of you, and you started singing then with your back turned to the audience. She just took her mic, and we could see her back and long dark hair. And she emerged there, and then she turned, and that was memorable. But as you said, I don't know where the venue was.
Yeah, precisely. And that's the thing. And you remember that, and this is probably years ago. And the fact that you remember that, and you probably have no idea what I was speaking about. But the thing that there was this
probably HUONE. You live, breathe HUONE. So.
No, I'm just making a reference to that. if you come there to participate anything remotely, physically, then you need those to activate those senses, what you see, what you hear, what you drink, what you taste, and everything, right? So that contribute to all the memories, how you process the information. And I think that's very important.
Exactly.
The multi-sensory element
And
of events.
Exactly, and I'm glad that you mentioned it because it ties us very nicely. It's 12:49 at the moment, and as part of the Event Success Insights podcast, all the guests are leaving a question to the next guest. So Evon here is asked a question by my previous guest, Monica Birkle. We spoke last week with Monica regarding educating the future event professionals as she's working in higher education, teaching event management. And Monica left you a question regarding XR trends and mixed reality. So what is your take regarding that? And you just spoke about multi-sensory engagement. So how can this achieved and all this metaverse and this and that and all the technological advancements, but then the very human nature and our senses really and perception of things. So where do you see is there a synergy? Are there some things that can absolutely not, by no means? What is your take, Yvonne?
To be honest, like to be in my 30 somethings, I really don't want to be the old school person in here. Meaning that, of course, I am processing these new trends.
We are soon 40, Evon. You and I, just for the record. For the record.
Let's not go there. But the thing is that I have to say that I do follow these trends, and I'm not blind and
Right.
my head to the sand or anything. But I think Monica mentioned this one example of what about bringing a Holocaust speaker to your venue and so on.
A hologram.
Hologram. Sorry, excuse me. So hologram speaker there, and then I was like, yes, we do have them. Actually, we use them in Singapore. One of our events where people brought in hologram technology, where we tested them just 1 hour before. Everything works perfectly, and everyone was like so wow about it. And then when it was supposed to work, didn't.
Murphy's Law.
And I tell you, it is seriously. Everyone was like just waiting for it to work, and it was a good 15 minutes trying to sort out the technology. And I have to say,
eventually, no,
it didn't work.
Okay.
And it was a very important person that they were supposed to actually hologram over, and so it didn't work. And again, I think the technology is still developing and it's still, and I do not want to say that whether or not it works now or it doesn't work now, or is it going to be 5 years or 10 years, because I don't want to be such a depressed person, but I feel like, all this, and this is personal opinion, like the metaverse and everything. And by the way, very excited about metaverse. I'm thinking about, people are designing all the meeting rooms, there, that what kind of meeting rooms they can have. And trust me, it's not going to be one table in the middle and office chair around it. It's going to be a crazy one, like
would you take HUONE to the metaverse?
That's a topic for another day. But I just mean that, like, I'm very excited to actually see what kind of meeting room, if they can have anything in the world, what they will design to be their meeting rooms. And I think that I'm very excited about that. But why I say that I'm so passive, or maybe not a bit cautious, I'm not pessimist about, is that we have so much other problem in reality right now. And I don't want to be right now like a hardcore activist here, but climate change is a real issue, like kind of like spending half of our time in metaverse in a reality that doesn't, I mean, of course it's real, half real, through the avatar or whatever. So I do appreciate that the technology exists, and I do not kind of say that people don't get anything out of it. Of course they do get something out of it, but I'm in that way old school, in a way that we are,
human beings.
We are human being, and then we have, people living in unbearable condition in blazing sun right now, that who is dying because of heat. And I don't know for how long are we going to ignore that fact. And the more we dwell into, I mean, I'm all very fascinated about the thing that human can achieve, but I don't know if we are doing the right thing in just hopping into that virtual reality and have everything done there
Yeah.
when
Or
we are
destroying our
losing
own
touch.
planet and then going for other planets when
Yeah,
we're
and
well, what can we make life better
when your
here?
physical body is actually living in on an earth that may not be there anymore for your grandchildren. So for that, I mean, I don't want to sound really like activist because I'm still a business person, and I'm obviously kind of also looking very hard into sustainability. Also, what is a carbon zero event? How can we contribute to that and so on? And I think that's a topic that we need to everybody in the industry start thinking
Right.
also about that. So I think that is something that when the more I look at that reality, the more I laugh at why are we wasting our time looking at virtual reality? Maybe that's just me, but
So at HUONE, you said that sustainability is important for you. What other values are important for the whole HUONE group, and what makes your heart and minds and souls excited to work for this brand and this company? And what are your values that you strive for?
it's all about people.
People.
Yeah, it's all about people. But that's why I want to bring up also the extinction. If we don't exist anymore, we don't have a earth to live in anymore. Okay, what we do, of course, I said this every other day, that if you have happy employees, you will have happy customers. So how we treat our employees is very important. So we have a very strong company culture, I would say. And we have,
Almost like a family. I think that's the
Yeah.
vibe I've gotten there. How you interact with your colleagues, and you're not just the CEO there, very
no,
high
we
up.
don't have the high hierarchy there. In any case, I mean, we are a very tight culture, and in fact, I think the fact that we survived the past 2 years, it wasn't done because of me leading up there. Like you do this, you do this. It wasn't like that. It was everyone's understanding, everyone's loyalty to the company,
And
then
common
the culture.
understanding. I think
Yeah.
you all have a common understanding to push you forward. Otherwise, you go so many different directions.
Yeah, so it's all about people why I do this, and the thing that make me the happiest is that if the employees happy working there, and then our customer are so happy and achieve what they came there to do and more, and want to come back again. That's it.
Yeah, great.
That's what I do.
Is it something, Evon, that we haven't touched upon, and it's absolutely in today's topic, which is inspiring venues and inspiring the power of inspiring venues in creating those meaningful encounters? Is it something that you absolutely want to leave some last thoughts on these topics for everybody listening to this podcast?
No more boring meetings, please.
Yeah. And check out HUONE events for more information, whether you're based in Helsinki or Copenhagen or Singapore, and reach out. They have a gorgeous website as well with a great. Yeah.
Before we end,
Yeah.
should I ask a question for Jenny?
Yes, absolutely. So I was coming to that. So we have my next guest here in the Event Success Insights podcast is the CEO of Management Events, and I know you know Jenny, Mrs. Jenny Tolonen personally, and you've done some work together. So what would be the question for my next guest?
Well, it's very obvious that I think Yanni know that I'm coming with to her with this question. That during the pandemic, they had to organize all the very customized events to the C-level people online. And then now that people can meet again, what is her take on that? That if they have to think that to achieve all the aim that they set out there to achieve for their successful event, would they do it hybrid, online, or physical, and why?
So, Jenny, you heard Evon, your friend here, fellow CEO of HUONE Group International. So, Evon said to me before that she had so many questions for you, but she narrowed down to this very one. So, next time we'll meet here on June 1st, and you'll be taking the seat here across me in the podcast studio at Epicenter Helsinki in the Event Success Insights podcast. And before we go, I'd love to thank Evon from my heart, and thank you for taking the time to be here. I hope it was worth it to come all the way from Espoo.
it's always a pleasure to discuss with a fellow, thought leader in the event industry,
And
because
foreign woman in Finland.
yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
Onwards we go, and stronger than ever.
Yes,
Mm.
and it's a great pleasure to have Evon here. She's a very successful entrepreneur and a smart, intelligent lady. So it's not only about the looks, but there's definitely smarts as well. Multi-talented singer, dancer, great cook. You name it. Great mom. So great to have you, Evon, here. And I have a couple of presents for you. If you could please help yourself. Here in front of you, there is this. First, take this EVS booklet, so you can read a little bit more about the EVS if you're interested. So the experience value score, and a pen, so you can give it some thought. As we said, it's all about worth it or wasted. So is my time worth it? And then I have a Lyyti Event Success Community mug. You can sip your coffee there. Hopefully you have a bag enough to big enough to carry those. I try to bring you one. And then I have the Lyyti hoodie. Is very warm and fluffy. And part of the concept, I must say, it's a little bit. I mean, you're very petite lady. It's an extra large. I'm sorry,
My husband is gonna
Yes.
be my ambassador.
So so I was thinking that what part of the concept here is that in your next event, in any event that you're attending as an organizer or as a guest, I would like you to wear this hoodie for a while, not for the whole duration.
That's a lot to ask,
I express my wish. So the
Yes.
concept is this. So no free meals, Evon. No free hoodies. No. So the concept is that just wear it for a couple of minutes and then send the picture back to me. Like take a selfie, send it back to me, and tell me about the event. I'll share it then with the event success community. So tell like, hey, Chryssa, this is me wearing this hoodie. Thank you. And this is the event we're doing or I'm attending. You don't have to wear. I know you wear very beautiful dresses all the time. So it's not part of your style.
Petri better take me out on his boat anytime soon, or else.
Petri, you heard her, so I think he has taken the boat. But you have your own boat, so you don't need Petri. But we actually, it's very good if you go on the boat. It's a little bit windy, you know. You could have it there for the boat.
That's what I'm saying. The boating event. I'm gonna wear this hoodie.
Sure. Go ahead and then tell more about the event you're attending. So it's a nice way to promote your event, whatever you're doing. So check out everybody out there, the event success community as well in LinkedIn and on Facebook. I'll talk to you next week with Mrs. Jenny Tolonen, the CEO of Management Events. And this was the Event Success Insights podcast today with Evon Blomstedt, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Evon. So thank you for tuning in and listening, everybody. Have a nice day. Greetings from sunny Helsinki. Bye for now.